What is up, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be talking about restoration equipment. Specifically, we're going to be talking about air movers. In this video, we're going to break down the different types of air movers, which ones are good or bad, pros and cons. Basically, if you own a restoration company, you do not want to miss this video. Let's go. All right, guys, so as we get started, go ahead and hit the like and the subscribe button and drop a comment down below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It helps the algorithm show the video to more people, and I'm curious where you're from. All right, guys, so let's get talking about air movers. So I'm going to share my screen here. So what are we going to cover in this video? We're going to talk about the three different types of air movers. We're going to look at the factors that you need to consider when you're purchasing or choosing an air mover, and then we'll even look at the different pros and cons of each one. And I'm even going to talk about brand leaders, off brands, my favorites. And if you guys stick around to the end of the video, I'll even show you what I would do if I was starting all over. All right, so let's talk about the three types of air movers. The first one is an axial air mover. Then we've got a radial, also called a pancake air mover. And then there's also a centrifugal, I don't know how you pronounce it. We call them snail movers, okay? So basically, you got the big ones are axials, pancakes, and then you got your snail fans. So here's some factors that you need to consider whenever you're going to be buying an air mover. Number one is going to be the weight. How heavy are these things? Guys, these things are going to range anywhere from like 35 pounds. So I think you can probably get some under 20 pounds. Weight is going to be a really big factor because the heavier they are, the more likely your team is to drop them and throw them around, which is going to make them break. How heavy is the fan? That's a really important one. Number two is what is the size? How big is it, okay? How do these things go about stacking up inside of the van? For me, that was one of the things that we were really focused on is how many could we get in a van? I like to personally be able to set 2 jobs out of one van, so I need enough equipment for that. So for me personally, I wanted 20 fans and I wanted 4 DHUs all in one transit, okay? And so for that to be the case, I needed small fans and small DHUs. So if setting more equipment per trip is important to you or not going back to the office over and over again, you're going to need to pick a smaller fan. And then the amps. This is something that you probably don't think about originally or initially, but once you start setting a whole bunch of jobs and you start popping breakers, the amps matter, okay? So what are the amps? So an amp is basically how much current it's going to require, okay? A lot of these things are going to pull anywhere from 1.8 amps up to 2 or 3 amps, okay? And this matters because most of the breakers in homes that you're going to be working with are going to be 15 amp breakers. You'll have some 20 amp breakers, but basically think of it this way. If the average fan is pulling 3 amps or 2 amps, let's say, then you can't put, and it's a 15 amp breaker, you can't have more than 7 of those things on one circuit. Probably won't be able to get more than 6 because they're probably going to have other things plugged in or lights on, etc. And you don't want to be popping breakers. Side note, pro tip, whenever you're setting your equipment, always turn everything on and stick around and let it run for 15 minutes, okay? Once you plug everything up and you got it all turned on, just stick around for 15 minutes because you will likely throw your breaker in the first 15 minutes. Okay, so amps is really important. Here's what you need to know about the amps too. Lower amps is better than too high. Now there's gonna be use cases where amps aren't a big deal, like you might need to move a whole bunch of air, but in many cases, one of the bigger things you're going to find is popping breakers is a problem, so lower amperage is key. All right, so let's take a look at your axial fans. As you see this guy right here, this is a standard brand Gale Force. My first set of fans were these Gale Force things, partly because I got them off of Craigslist and they were really cheap. Why were they cheap? Because they're big, huge, and heavy. So the pros of these guys is this: they're really good for large jobs, okay? They move a ton of air. Okay, you'll get a higher rate in xactimate with these things. So these are some of the pros for this thing. Some of the cons of these are they're very big and they're very heavy. The real question is this: what is the use case? If you do some commercial jobs, you're probably going to want some of these large axial fans. Maybe not, okay? But for me, I bought a bunch of these up front off of Craigslist. These were some of my first fans. On the big commercial jobs, we would use them. But I'll tell you this, after that, they were all stored up top in my warehouse, and we did not like throwing these things in the van, okay? But you might need them on some of the bigger jobs, okay? And another con is transportation. Again, they don't stack very well, and you don't get to fit very many in a van. If you're in a box truck, that may not matter as much, but I got news for you. They're still big, okay? So here are your radial fans, your pancake fans, all right? These are the smaller ones, and this is a newer design. You see some of the other brands. I don't know what this Mont2 brand is. The good thing about these are compact fans. They're very lightweight and they're very stackable, as you can see here. And then transportation works very well. I don't know in this video if I've got an image of these things stacked up in my van. If I do, I'll have my editor put it up here now, but you can see that these things stack really nicely in the van. They also don't pull a lot of amps. You can get these things to pull sub 2 amps. I think they may even have multiple speeds. So a lot of times we would dry stuff on the lower speed just to try and lower the amperage. Some of the cons for this, they're not as versatile whenever you're doing angled drying, okay? So in this situation, you've got it laid flat, it'll blow straight across the floor. And then the other situations, you can just stand it right up on its butt and blow straight up at the ceiling, okay? But that's really it. And that's one of the cons I didn't really mention on the Axial fan, is the Axial fan, you can't even point straight up, okay? Because if you did, then it causes like a suction problem. As you can see on this guy here, the hole for the intake is on top of it. With an Axial, the fan is in the front and the hole is in the back. So therefore you can't blow it straight up. I mean, technically, I guess you can if you're gonna set it like on some 2x4s or something to get creative. For the most part, Axials are not going to be able to blow vertically, they will blow horizontally. And so the cons of these guys, you can't do angle drying. They're not cheap. These things are pretty expensive. We'll make a different video diving into different prices, and they're not always the best for large open areas, okay? But I'll tell you this is a good everyday dryer. These are good everyday dryers because they're small and you can fit them inside the house. One of the real things that I like about these is the handles on them. You can easily walk through a doorway with one in each hand. The Axials, there's no way because they're gonna be way out here. And then the snail movers, they're gonna be too big as well. These guys are pretty cool because you can easily tote 2 of them. And your team will probably like these fans a lot. How do you know? Because those are the ones that they'll use all the time. They always leave the heavy stuff laying around. And here is your centrifuge or your snail fan. Omni Dry or Omni is a brand that we used. And so these things, the pros for this, they're cheap. You can get these guys for 200 bucks or less, okay? They're very versatile in terms of their drying. As you can see, this is blowing horizontally, and they've also got those little wheels right there, so you can actually tilt it up on a 45 and you can stand it straight up, okay? So you can handle these things in like drying up walls. They're pretty durable as well. We had these things for a really long time. They get thrown around and dropped. I think they're probably some of the more durable ones. And I just call them proven, right? There's more of these on the market than anything else, but that's just because they're older, right? Some of the cons on these is transportation. They will stack up. There'll be an insert underneath the fan so you can stack them up on top of each other. You can possibly stack 3 of these in a van or a box truck, but it gets really cattywampus or wobbly. But transportation is a con just because you don't get to fit that many in there. Again, they're pretty large. I didn't measure these things. I mean, they're probably 18 to 20 inches and they're heavy, dude. These things are not light. I'm just telling you, if you have the little Axial fans and you have this one, your team is going to go grab those little pancake fans all day long. Oh, and here's another one. We got baby fans. I forgot about this one. I've seen these before. They're super cheap. You can even get them like sub $100. Pros, they're cheap, very versatile in terms of drying angles. And here's a really good one. And this is going to be controversial for a lot of you hardcore restoration guys, because y'all are like, I would never own one of these piece of garbage things. They're not going to dry anything. Let me tell you something, dude. They will at least show a little force, okay? At the time that I record this video, we're still in winter. It's in January, and we just got done with a freeze event, right? You will use these on a freeze, not to get it dry, but you'll use it for drying, but it's a show of force, okay? There might be times or situations that you want to spike a water job. When I say spike, you'll drop a piece of equipment, a couple fans. These are good to show force, and it will help you stabilize that job so your customer is not going to freak out, or the adjuster or whatever, while you take a day or so to assimilate forces. So again, it's a show of force. It allows you to plug some stuff up to let everybody say, hey, we got this. I'm gonna give you guys a little insight here. When you run a water damage restoration company, you are not always going to be ready, and you're not always going to be able to tackle every single job when the job comes in. And I'm going to give you permission. That's okay. That is completely okay. Like, that's the way that works. Think about it this way. If you guys had a water damage job and you needed a dumpster, you're not going to get a dumpster there in 30 minutes. It's probably going to take a day or a couple of days before you get your dumpster there. And I'm going to give you a little more advice. Don't tear a bunch of crap out and throw it out in the yard, because just wait. Just wait and put it directly in the dumpster. You're moving it twice when you do it. Otherwise, storm will come through and blow it everywhere. I'm just trying to tell you this. Sometimes that you need to stabilize a job. These fans are good for stabilization to show force, okay? Take your time. Take your time. You still need to dry the job quickly, and you don't need to let mold or any of that grow, but I'm giving you permission, okay, to assimilate forces. Okay, I'm just letting you know how it really works in the real world. The cons of the baby fans, these things don't really transport that well either because they're so little. They don't dry very well either, and they don't do very much for stacking, but really they are what they are. They're cheap, and it's a show of force. That's how I would use these. I would still probably have a handful of these things, probably 8 to 10. If you've got 150 fans, I'm probably going to have 8 to 10 of these guys laying around. okay? Maybe 8 to 10. You can submit them in small spaces. There's going to be cases that you can't get a big fan into a nook or a cranny. You can use some of these for stuff like that. Commercial applications, drying in closets, cabinets. There are some little things that you use these for. So I'll say that if you got 150, 200 fans, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have about 8 or 10 of these things laying around. Okay. Now let's talk a little about brand leaders. I've got this broke down as what are the Walmarts of fans. Okay. And these are going to be like your Phoenix fans or your Dry-E's. Okay. That's going to be your A-listers. And so what is the B teamers? Who's my Dollar Generals? These are going to be like the B Air. Okay. And so I'm just letting you know who they are. And we'll kind of go through these. When I say Phoenix and Dry-E's, they're a big brand. Okay. You should be able to trust their equipment, at least on the fan side. I have a big problem with Phoenix dehues. I spent $30,000 on a bunch of them and they suck. They just leak. So I'm a little butthurt to Phoenix for that reason. Dry-E's never really had a problem out of them. And we'll do a different video on dehumidifiers. But I'm mentioning this because brand matters, right? And we want to know, is this brand going to stand up if we have a problem? And I'll tell you this, I had a problem with Phoenix. I reached out to the rep and they didn't want to make it right. Here's my deal. If you're making a bunch of dehues, they have pump failures, pull them off the market or fix it for free. And I just spent a whole bunch of money and they were garbage. I never had that problem with Dry-E's. So for that reason, I like Dry-E's better than Phoenix. Okay. But then again, Dry-E's may not have made it right either, but I didn't have a problem. To go to the Dollar General and the B Air guys, let me tell you this. These guys, I think they're the ones that are in the Home Depots, if you will. I never used them. Okay. I probably would never spend any money on them. Okay. But I'm just going over these. Some of you guys will go through this, whatever. You know what I'm saying? B Air is kind of like your second grade. I'm just letting you know which ones are the top. So the biggest ones, Phoenix and Dry-E's, then your B Airs, and then you've got a little boutique brand. And this is something new, and these are ASD products, okay? And so I'll actually put a link to their stuff down below. So this is an ASD or an ASD product. This is their fan. ASD, they're good stuff. We'll probably talk a little bit more about them in a minute. But yeah, this is an Axial fan that they've got. He sent one to the water damage boot camp. I didn't actually use one drying before, but they sent one to the water damage boot camp and we played with it and toyed with it. And dude, this is a good fan. It's not too expensive. It moves a lot of air, only 1.8 amps. I like these. All right, let's just talk about off-brand stuff. Back to the B Airs, things of that nature. Here's what I'm gonna tell you guys. You get what you pay for. You get what you pay for, okay? If I were starting out, I mean, I can tell you what I did. I bought used stuff off of Craigslist. But if you wanna start with one small package like this, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do a package, do a 5-in-1. 5 fans, 1 DU, maybe an air scrubber, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But a small package, if you can get a package like that for $5,000 or something, $4,000, I guess, whatever, that's up on you. I haven't done the math to see how much those things cost. You probably get the DU for $1,500. They're probably going to be $3,000 for that package. Here's what I'm going to say. Get the first one if you want, but just know this. Those things are going to tear up. They're going to break. They're just going to, all right? If you want to start one package, that's fine. But I would tell you definitely transition into one of your brand leaders. You're going to want to use something that's going to be your brand of choice. That's what BOC is. I was like, what is BOC? Transition to your brand of choice, okay? Again, off-brand, you get what you pay for. If you want to do one package, that's totally up to you. What would I do if I were starting all over? So again, here's what I did. Number one, I bought a couple of used pieces off of Craigslist. That's what I would do, okay? And then number two, I would rent the rest. In this situation here, you can find a carpet cleaner or a plumber or somebody that has a bunch of gear. Like there's a lot of you guys, they're going to go buy a bunch of gear before you talk to me. And then you're going to figure out you're not good at restoration. And you go spend $8,000 or $10,000 of equipment and you got it sitting in a mini storage. There's guys like that all over the country, guys. If you're watching this video, hear me out. There's tons of them all over the country. Those guys are never going to use the equipment because they don't know how to get water damage jobs. They didn't come to my 30-day test drive. Hey, and by the way, since I'm here talking about it, if you want me to help you grow your restoration company, we've got a 30-day program. Well, I will guarantee that we can help you launch your company in 30 days. We help you get water damage jobs, all right? You can go to workwithshane.com, put in your information, I'll show you that. But I'm just telling you, getting water damage jobs from the internet, you can do that really, really quickly. You should do that before you go buy a bunch of gear. But I digress. Let's talk about the guys that have this equipment. Here's what I'm telling you. You want to identify someone that's got this equipment and just score them a deal. Say, hey, can I rent this from you? And with the guy that I had, like I said, he had a plumbing company. We had a big freeze event. He bought a bunch of gear and then wound up not using it. So I brokered a deal where I rented it from him for like 40 cents on the dollar. And then ultimately he wound up giving me a key to the mini storage and I would just go get it as I need. And I think I went to like a monthly rental or something. And eventually, so at first I made him an offer to buy the whole thing and he didn't want to take it because it was like 50 cents on the dollar. But then ultimately I just rented it from him for a couple of months, I think. And I bought all of it. And I can't remember what I got, but I bet it was like 30 fans, 5 or 8 DUs. It was a good bit of stuff. Buy a few pieces of used gear, rent the rest. You can rent some stuff from Home Depot or Lowe's, a few jobs, and then you can find someone else that has a setup like this. And really, this looks a lot like what I started with. Okay, it really, really does, except I didn't have that many ear scrubbers. Okay, so rent it as needed and save your money. Okay, you want to spend the most amount of money that you can do. Number one, helping somebody grow your company, and then number two, on ads or leads. Okay, the equipment comes last. You don't need the equipment yet. Do not buy the equipment yet. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. Make them an offer to buy it. All right, so that wraps that up. That's all things air movers. If you guys have a question or something, drop a comment down below. Share this video on social media. We'll see you in the next video. If you guys enjoyed that video, I've got 3 things for you. First off, there's a couple of other videos somewhere on the screen. You can click those now to go watch more content about growing your restoration company. Number 2, if you haven't already subscribed, click my face below and that will subscribe you to the channel. And finally, if you would like for me to help you grow your restoration company, go to workwithshane.com, put in your information, and let's get on a 15-minute call. We'll see you then.